time was 6 a.m. I had just woke up. I spent the next 10 minutes just laying in bed staring at the ceiling. I felt unmotivated. I wasn't sure what it was. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel depressed. I just didn't feel like getting out of bed. I thought about drawing, writing some poetry, making some videos, working on more voice practice or podcast work. I even thought about maybe watching a movie, doing just something to get me out of bed, something to brighten my mood. And yet, I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel down. I felt happy with my life, and yet, I didn't feel like I was going anywhere. I felt a bit lost, and yet at the same time, I knew exactly the direction I was going. It felt like being on a ship at sea. You've been through the storm of life. You've rode the waves. You've gone through difficult times. You have your success of overcoming that obstacle, of overcoming the storm. You reach the eye of the storm where everything's calm. But this is the point that you don't want to give up. You don't want to let your guard down. You don't want to relax too much and be demotivated, because it's only the eye of the storm, and you're only halfway through it. There's more left. But what more was there left of me? And how much more could I take? How much longer could I go on doing this? It wasn't like life was too difficult at this point. There weren't too many hardships. The biggest obstacle to overcome in my life was my own mind. A part of me telling me to give up, and a part of me also telling me to keep going. Both sides clashed, and I felt completely neutral. And thus, I didn't feel sad or depressed. But I definitely did not feel motivated. Even though I didn't feel motivated to do anything, I had to get out of bed. I couldn't just lay there all day and do nothing. That's just not me. I usually don't do that unless I am depressed. So I got out of bed, I reached for my eyeglasses, and I put them on. I walked to my kitchen and started preparing breakfast. I grabbed a container of oatmeal, a carton of eggs, some milk, a banana, and started preparing my breakfast. I was thinking about my day and what I was going to do in the next week, but I had to focus on today. I couldn't let my mind wander and worry about the week ahead of me because I have so much time left in that day. After all, I had just woken up, and what was the point of worrying about something so far in the future when I had difficulty just getting out of bed this one day? I knew at this point I had to make small steps. I think we've all reached this point in life, and if not all of us, at least most of us. I sat there looking out the window as the sun was rising. It was a winter day, clear blue skies, with a touch of orange as the sun was rising just over the horizon. I wasn't sure if I should start drawing, if I should start writing some poetry, if I should start working on some videos, or maybe I should get my camera and practice some photography. I sat there for a few minutes, maybe even an hour, contemplating what I should do next. As I sat there, the sun rays were shining through the blinds. As the hour passed, I could see the shadows move. I knew I couldn't just keep sitting there, doing nothing. Nothing will get done if I do this. I didn't quite feel the motivation to start drawing, to do poetry, to practice photography, but I knew I had to do something. I found some motivation, what little I had, to at least start cleaning. I started cleaning some of my dishes, and while I was working on that, I started thinking about my day. I started getting ideas. I watched the birds fly by my window, and I was watching a squirrel run up a tree, and it sat there looking at me. And then it made me think, how can I, in this warm room, with this shelter and this comfort, not find motivation while these birds, these squirrels, these animals, in this freezing cold, manage to find the will to go on, the will to continue, and the motivation to continue with each day? Who am I to sit here and complain about how I don't have motivation when I have all of this here around me? When I'm fortunate enough to not have to worry about if I'm going to survive and make it tomorrow. I don't have to worry about if I can afford the food to eat for the next day, or if I'm going to have any food at all for the next week. As I was thinking about it, it really made me appreciate what I have. As the sun was going across the sky and I saw the birds flying around, it gave me an idea. So I got my camera and I found just the perfect moment to snap a picture of the squirrel sitting on the tree as the sun was rising just in the horizon behind it. The sapphire blue skies and the beautiful orange contrasting each other as the sun was rising, and the squirrel just sat there in the tree. And then one thing led to the next. I started practicing photography in my apartment, and then I went outside and I stood on my porch and started taking photos of things. And before you know it, a few hours had passed by and I had been practicing photography. And then I had so many photos in my memory card and it was full. So I had to go inside and upload them to my computer. And then I spent several hours editing all of these photos. And while I was working on that, I thought to myself, what just happened to the past 6 hours? I went from no motivation to do anything, and then all of a sudden, I started working on something. It's these small things in life that we think will never motivate us to do anything. Sometimes when you have no motivation to do anything, you just have to start. Start somewhere. If you never get things moving and you just don't start, you'll never do anything. You'll just lay there in bed, unmotivated, doing nothing, telling yourself that you'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. I'll do it in 2 weeks. I'll do it in 4 weeks. I'll do it next year. And before you know it, all the time has passed by and you're still sitting there, wasting time, doing nothing, blaming others, not taking responsibility for the fact that you just laid there doing nothing. We can all find these moments of inspiration, no matter how big they are, no matter how small they are, no matter how cheesy it may sound to people, or what the story is. It's your life, so find something that motivates you from your past or your surroundings around you, and just go with it. Take something that is small, and even if it is something so small and as insignificant to you that you don't think it's going to do anything to motivate you, just start working on it. Start doing something. And then your mind will just wander off, and eventually you'll start working on things. What's helped me with motivation and to keep my mind focused on doing things to improve myself is to eliminate distractions around me. I turn my phone off. I don't even turn my computer on. I take a little bit of time to just focus on thinking about things, rather than having so many distractions that take me away from working on my goal. Or maybe sometimes we just need a few moments and a little bit of time to just relax and think about things. You want to balance in life. You don't want to overwork yourself to the point to where you don't have the motivation to keep going. If you're feeling unmotivated, if you feel like there's no reason to get out of bed or to keep going, find that little spark of inspiration. Just start on something. Just start doing something. It doesn't matter what it is really. Whatever it is that you enjoy doing. Maybe it could be calling up a friend and someone you haven't talked to in a long time. Maybe it's forgiving somebody for something they might have wronged you for. You could just go outside and go for a walk. Maybe you could just sit on your porch and think about things. You could go over to a friend's house or a family member's house and spend some time with them and talk about things. Maybe the conversation you have with somebody will give you new motivation and new ideas, and that will give you a spark of motivation to start doing something. And then from that point on, you'll just have a lot of ideas and things will just keep moving forward from there. As long as you just get the gears moving, things will just start flowing. Life will get better. So get up, get out, and get moving. You can't just keep laying there doing nothing. You can talk about being motivated, but talk is cheap when words aren't put into action. You've got to get out of that bed. You've got to get up. So stand up and make that first small step for a new day so you can have a better tomorrow. Because tomorrow is never promised.